Hi everyone. So in the last class, we have discussed data in the Java program can exist in the form of variables and objects. Right. To use the data in the future, we have to be store it permanently, which is nothing but we have to store it in the file or database. What is the file? What is the database? How to differentiate and why we prefer the database instead of storing the data in the file, we have to be discussed in today's class. For example, if you take the employee, means it consists of all employee data, right? If it's a customer, it contains the customer data. If it is an employee, it consists of employee data, right? Suppose if it is a policy or object in an insurance application, which means it has a policy information. Basically, the object contains a data, and these data can be stored in the application in the form of variables or objects. So like when you initially writing the Java program, you are aware of that you creating the variables, right? For example, EMI, to calculate the EMI, you need the rate of interest, principal amount, and years of tenuity. So you are taking as an input from keyboard, probably with the help of the scanner class, then storing the data in the form of variables. So that is called the raw data. So these type of data can exist in the form of objects. So what are the objects here? Like a rate of interest, principal amount, and the year of tenuity. So we call it as a objects, right? Sorry. So data can be stored in as we have discussed, right? So let me just make it. A data can be stored in the form of variables or objects. So in the form of variables or objects. So whenever you execute the program, okay, we have a program, and whenever you execute a program, the data will be gone in the data will be gone whenever the JVM is terminated. Maximum how what is the time limit? Maximum how time data can be available until the JVM gets terminated. But whenever the JVM get terminated, all the data that will be clearly vanished. It's like erased, right? So we have to be like we will like to use this data in future. Then what we have to do in future, if we want to use, I have to be store it permanently, right? So how to store it permanently? Yesterday, our conclusion in storing the data permanently, like we have discussed. So these two, right? Files or database. However, our Java application can communicate with the help of the JDBC API. And how this JDBC will help us to communicate the our Java application to the database? Let's understand. Okay, so the first example for this one, like what happens if I store the data into the files? What problems may arise, or what are the issues with the files, right? So we have to be discussed in the file, like what are the problems we come across, that we have to be discussed. And second one is, why should I move from file to database? Then how to connect our Java application to database using the JDBC API? And the next one, third one, what is the JDBC API? What happens if I store the data into the files? What problem may arise? So, or what are the issues with the files? So we have to be make it clear understanding about this one. So I'll take one example for understanding. Let me consider this. Okay, so I will take it as a, this is my employee data. So I will give it as a name, emps dot dat. that. Okay, so my first column is employee number, and second one is e name, and third one is salary. Okay, so first employee records would be, well, just take the random employee number and the name, Anil, and the salary would be, let's say, 6,000. And the second one, like a 32178, and employee name would be Sunil, and the salary would be, let's take it as a 7,000. And third one is 87098, and employee name William, salary 9,000. So we have to be take like this is, we are storing as many as records in the in our employee dot dat. Right. So finally, we have stored how many records we want. We have stored all the employees' details in our file, which is nothing but the emps dot dat. Right. So, for example, this file has, okay. So let's so this file has, for example, this file has how many? Let's say 10,000 records. Okay, so I want to search one employee data in this record. It might be in the middle of 87098 record, or maybe, but what happened? I just take any random employee number data. Okay, so I have to be search it manually, and it will take a more time. But in files I cannot directly go to the records. So this is my file employee emps.dep. So in the files I cannot directly go to that particular records, from where my file reading should start record, from starting first column. Okay, some starting first column, then record 2, then record 3. So it will take how many records we have they inserted in. So searching the data is like, it will take a lot of time, so it is a like time consuming process. So it is possible searching when file has a 10 records or 20 records, then we can, it might take a lesser time, and we can get easily whatever the record we are looking for. Right, let's say it has 100 records, then it will take little bit more time to search for the particular data or employee data. Then what happened, then within the less time we can find it. But what if the file has the 10,000 or 1 lakh record? Obviously it will take the more time to fetch the data. Right. So problem first is it is time consuming task. Okay, and so it takes a lot of time. So let me just write here how, what are the issues with the file. Okay, so my question is like, what are the issues with file? Now you understood, right? So in a normal file, if we are writing so many records of the employee data, then it is very difficult to search whatever the particular data we want. So for example, it's a file emps.dat. By mistake, or code is given as a inserting or storing the same name employee data one more time. So can we apply any constraint or the primary key in this file? We cannot apply, because this is a file, it is not a database, so we cannot apply. Which means we have the same records, we can store it again. So there is a word called redundancy, which is nothing but the repeating. Okay, repeating the data, or we can call it as a duplicating the data, or which is nothing but that same data occurs many times or more time. For example, I have a 1 lakh record. Out of 1 lakh, 50K is a duplicate. Okay, so out of 1 lakh, 50K are the duplicate records. Right. So earlier my file size is just like a 5 KB. Now because of the duplicate data, it become a 6 KB. So it occupies the more memory. For example, you are storing all your programs data. So let's take this example. If you are storing all the data in the program file, right, where you will store these files in a C drive or D drive. So in the tree C drive or D drive, it allocated some space, like let's say 500 GB or 100 GB. Okay, to D drive or E drive, like you allocated the 500 GB or 100 GB in 100 GB in your D drive, in your laptop or system. Okay, if you keep on storing all the movies, like English movies or the Hindi movies, keeping all them in the drive, what happened, day by day the memory get occupied and available. Just say a little, like you have used already 50 GB and 50 GB is left. So whatever you downloaded the movies, it is in the form of files. So it is in the form of like movies or the media player or MP3, MP4 or MP5, like that, right? So what happens, it consumes the more data. Let's okay, I'll just try to make it as a diagram. So we have like, I'll take the another example to make this understand clearly. Okay, so we have two files. Okay, the first file name is customers customers.dat, and the second file name is accounts.dat. Okay, um, let's just understand. Okay, we have some data in the customers.dat and in accounts.dat. So this is nothing but the data. We have so much data. Okay, so customers have the accounts. So it is a related data. Okay, so what happens, the data I am storing in the two files, in one file customer data and another in the accounts information. So whatever the customers accounts information will be there, it is available in the accounts.dat, right? So what I want to get the data of the customers and his accounts, means what would be the related data I want from this what I call, where I want data from customers and I want to retrieve his account. Okay, so I have the customer data and I want to retrieve the account information from the accounts.dat file, another file. So where it is another file, means retrieving the related, or the, we call it as a correspondent data from the another file, related correspondent data from the another file, means which is nothing but the retrieving the data. So what happens, like we feel, if we don't have, like in a file obviously we don't have this type of options called um, foreign key or primary key or the constraints, right? In the files, do we have, we don't have this type of options. And also we don't have, like if the parent data is getting related data is not possible in the file, where we can write the join queries. With the help of the join query, we can get the customer's data and his accounts data. Okay, in database it is possible, like if the because the data is related and we want to get the customers accounts information, then we can retrieve the data by using the primary key, constraint key, and we have the joins. So all these facilities are available in the database, but in the files it is not. So we can get the customer's data and his accounts data, but in the files we cannot, it doesn't support. Like when the data is stored in the multiple files, retrieving the related data is a difficult task in the file. So let's understand, I have a file, I have the file, the word called, so you might understand, so what is the consistency? Okay, consistency and inconsistency, how does it happens? So our next point is like inconsistency. Data stored in across like multiple files, okay, customers and accounts data is related, and address of the customer data changed. So just take this same example. Okay, okay, so what we have the two files. In this two files, like address of the customer data. So I'll just make it another way, or in this. Okay, so here I have the address. So I want to change the address of the customer in the customer's file. Okay, so I'm changing the address. And so do you think this same address will be changed in the accounts.data file? It don't, right? So it okay, what happened? It will not change here. So here the customer's address is, we have changed the customer's address in the customers dot file, but it cannot reflect the accounts dot date, because we in the files it is not possible, right? So we have to be make this clear. And customers dot the customer address is changed, but I did not change in the accounts dot dat. I just assume I forgot. So what happens if I retrieve the account data address? It is different from the address of the customers dot date, which is nothing but what happened, inconsistency, because the data is not matching. So here the data address is available, and in the accounts information like we have modified, right? So it is not matching. So on that time we can, what we can call it, inconsistency, right? Which is nothing but inconsistent data not matching with reality, data inconsistency. Okay, so let me take an example for your better understanding. Like example, you went to the bookstore. Okay, bookstore. You are picking up one book and didn't paid. If you paid the amount, then it should be there in the uh, like what the person we call reception, or yeah, in the cash box. Like they have a drawer, they will be collecting those who buy the books, so they are keeping the money in the box, money box or cash box. Yes, so you pick up the book and you didn't paid, and if you paid, the amount should be there in the cash box. What is happening with the book? It is not there. Book is not there, but cash also not there in the cash box. So that is nothing but the consistency. Okay, so that is nothing but the consistency. There is no book in the shelf and no money, so that is nothing but the consistency. If book is there, it is matching with the reality, so this is called the consistency. If book is not there, and cash must be there in the cash box, you pick up the book, you paid the money, but you forgot to carry the book with you. So what happens now? Book is there and cash is also there. So on the time, what we call inconsistency. Okay, if cash is there, but if cash is there, book must not be there. Okay, so that is matching with the reality, which is nothing but the consistency. Either the book must be there or cash must not be, both. Okay, to matching in the real time reality in our scenario. Like just okay, so second thing is inconsistency. And what is the third one? Like third one is nothing but the security. So how we have to be differentiate? How does it how to overcome this in the file? Okay, so here what happens, you are downloading the Aadhaar card. Okay, just take this example for our better understanding. You're downloading the Aadhaar card from the e-Aadhaar website. It is a government website, right? It's a PDF format. So you can open it, and which is downloaded, and you cannot open because it is a password protected. And it says like you have to be type first four letters of your name and first four letters of your date of birth. So it is a secured one, secured file, PDF format. So here what happens, like I'm saying the file are not secured. Why you think that files are not secured? You may think like how come I secured the file with my password? My file is secured one because I have given the password, so it is secured. But I am saying it is not secured. So why? Because if anybody type the password correctly, then only it will open. uh, what if, like, what is the point here? It is not secured. For example, it's a password protected, and I'm going to the e-seva. Okay, I'm going to the e-seva or me seva to upload something. I need to be tell my password at this point. Okay, I only want to show, I want to show that internet guy, like I want to show him my photo and the other number, but I don't want to show the address, my address. What happened at this time? If I revealed my password to him, all the data is visible. So in this way, we are saying that file is not secured. Okay, so can you make, is it possible, like, can you make some part of the data is visible and some part of the data are not visible? Like, for example, in the real time application, there is a huge amount of data. Okay, in any application you can take, so it has a huge amount of data, right? So based on the role, okay, based on the role we can access. If the role of the user, he can only see the data but he cannot write or he cannot manipulate or execute. Okay, because the user, if he open any application, he only see that application, right? And what if he is a admin? He can see the more amount of data and he can make the changes in the database. It is possible and secured. So based on the role, it shows the other information, or it has to be show or it has to be hide. It is depends on the base, role based. So if it is a user, he can only read. If it is an admin, he can access the files and do the modification. But in the files, is it possible? Because it is not possible in the files, it is possible in the database. So what's the solution to overcome this database? Okay, so first one, like, if you want I can write it, so first one is nothing but we can search the data fastly. Okay, whenever we require the data, some data can be stored the multiple times in the file, so it leads the redundancy. This is our second point. First one is like, we can in database, we can search the data, whatever the data, particular data, specific data we are required. So it is easy for us to like look for the data and get the data, third row, or if I want like 99th row, then it is easily I can find it. But in files, like I have to be manually search from for line 1, line 2, so it takes a lot of time. And second one, okay, so first one, searching, it takes more time for searching. searching specific data, specific record. And second one is inconsistency. So what is this inconsistency? If I have a multiple like what uh, same data can be stored multiple times in file, it leads the redundancy in the database. We can avoid storing the duplicate data, like how, in the form of not null primary key. With the help of these constraints, we can avoid the duplicate data in the database. Okay, so second, which is nothing but the inconsistency. And so what is third one? Security. Okay, so third one is security. And how does it work? Okay, whenever the data retrieving across the multiple files. Okay, whenever we want to retrieve the data from one file to the another file, so it is a time taking process in the database. In the files it is a time taking, but in the database it won't. By using this primary key, foreign key, joins and indexation, it is possible in the tables, right? So when the data is exist in the multiple files, okay, we have the same data in this file and in other file as well. So on the time, what happens when the data is exist in the multiple files, it is available in one file, and it is not available in the another files. Just now we have discussed about the address. It is available in the customers dot data, and but it does not available in the accounts dot data, because we have made the changes in the customers file, but not in the so to avoid this one, but in the database it is easily, like we can make the changes by using this foreign key, join key, indexation. It is possible for us, right? But in database, like if any common data or modified data, like we have the master table, so whatever the table modified, we can join, or we can do it in the, it get modified in the child tables as well. So whatever the changes we do in the parent table, it automatically reflects in the child table as well. So to same thing, so this is nothing but the inconsistency. And to talk about this security, what happens in the database? In the database, the concept called views. Okay, in data, we have like view 1, view 2, view 3. So this view contains the data for users. Okay, so this view 2 contains the data for admins, and view 3 data consists for the only managers. Okay, view the data from for the managers. Based on the roles, it is applicable. View 1 contains the less amount of data because only the users can access it, and view 2 data for the admin roles, so it has some more data, so on. So it is possible in the database, but not in the files. So that is nothing but the security. Okay, so this is how we have discussed, right? So let me just make it clear understanding. So what is the second one? Inconsistency, right? So same data, so same data can be stored in multiple files multiple times in a file. So it is called the redundant data or duplicate data. So it is duplicate data. So the problem is, what is the problem? The memory will be wasted. The problem is, right. And what is the third one? Like we have to be, so when the data is stored in multiple files. Okay, when retrieving the related information is difficult. Information or data from the files is a tedious task. And what is the fourth one? Like when the data exists in the multiple files, the data is updated or modified. It's modified at one file and another file. It is not modified. So it is nothing but the data inconsistency. Stored in multiple files, updated, updated or modified. It's then from one in one file. In other file, so in other file not updated, then it leads to the data inconsistency. Data inconsistency. And to fifth one is nothing but the security, the data. Okay, data stored in the files is secured because once a file is open, all the data will be visible. So that is what I have given the examples, right? So to overcome all this data, all these issues in the files, we have to use the database, right? So we want to let's take this one. We want to write our Java application because we are the application developers, and our requirement is from our Java requirement. We want to connect with the database. What operations we have to be perform on the data? So we know about this CRUD, right? CRUD, which is nothing but the insert, update, and delete. So C means CRUD operations. So what is C? C is nothing but a create. Okay, which means not creating the table or its structure. It means inserting. Okay, it means inserting. CRUD operations can be done on the data. So C means it is like a inserting, and the second one is R. So, what is the R consists of read, which is nothing but the retrieving or selecting the data. Okay, so third one is U. So, what does it? U means nothing but the update. So, updating, modifying, manipulating the data, and the last one is D. So, D is nothing but removing or deleting the data, and we have the two types. Okay, so first one is soft so like a soft deletion and the hard deletion, we will come to know, right? So these are nothing but the CRUD operations. So it is used for inserting, update, delete, select is called the manipulating. R for retrieval. So DRL. Okay. So what is this CRUD operation means? CRUD operations is nothing but DML plus DRL, right? So which is called CRUD operations. Okay, from where we have to be perform, where we have to be perform from our Java application. Okay, how? So you have already learned how to do in the SQL plus how we have to be perform this type of operation. When you know all this, then why we have to be learn the JDBC? We already know this how to perform this operation in the SQL in our database. Okay, when you know how to perform the operation in SQL plus, then why should I do from for the Java application? For example, you don't have any FP account and you want to create the new one. So you have to be register it first. Okay, once you sign up, once you filling all your details, like you have a name, email, date of birth, gender, phone number, country, state, zip code, which is nothing but the pin code, and then you have to be hit on the submit button. So then your account will get created. So what happens as soon as you click on the submit button in FB or in any Gmail account, so it will ask your details and you fill all those details. So all this data is stored in where? It is stored in database. Okay, so let's just take it in the simple example. Okay, so it is assume user. Okay, so this is a user, and so you are filling all the data. You are filling the data. So you have so many fields here, right? Then here last you have filled the form, and in the last you have the submit. Okay, so and here this is a database, and here Java program. Okay, so it consists of some data. Okay, so it consists some data. You have to be fill all the data. You have to be entered all the data, and it will communicate to our Java program. Okay, so it is nothing but the Servlet API. Okay, so just assume it is like a, so whatever the data you have given in the, so it has to be how it will get communicate. So my question is, who will receive this data? Okay, when you click on the submit, who will receive all this data? You have given your name, email ID, phone number, uh, address, and zip code. So whatever the data is required for the registering the account, and as you click on the submit, so where that the data will be stored. Okay, so data cannot receive directly. This is like database cannot directly receive all the details, your details. Okay, it there is some software program, so which we are calling as a backend program, so which is nothing but a Java program. So it will connect all the data, and It will connect all the data and insert. Where it will be inserting, it will be inserting into the table. So we required one software program. Okay, so what is required to store the data, all this data in the table? One, first one is like a program is required, and then what happened? SQL plus take all this data and insert into the table, right? It is only for the practice, like whenever you perform the like you're writing any queries, SQL takes all the data, and for SQL plus is for only the practicing purpose. Like um, it is also one type of application, and it's a CUI. CUI is nothing but the character user interface, and a GUI application. So what is graphical user interface application? So it is SQL plus is given for practicing or the testing whether the data is inserted or not. But SQL plus is not to take the data from front end page and insert into the table. So did you think that it happens? So whatever the user given the data, and the SQL plus is storing all the information, your details into the table, so it won't happen. So we require the software program, right, who can collect like what it will do, how the this data will be inserted in the table. So who can collect and push the data into the table. One software program is required, that is nothing but the Java program. So not only Java, but it may be Python, C Sharp, etc. We have so many programs. So this program will collect the data whenever the user click on the submit button. Okay, then it will store it in the table. To insert the data in table, it should connect first. Like how do I connect the database from the Java application? Further, we learn the like further we have to build on the JDBC technology. It provides the facility to perform the CRUD operations or a database using the SQL queries. So we required one uh, a platform. Okay, so what is the technology? Okay, so you, as before going into this, first like basic things we have to be aware of this. So what is the technology? How we have to be defined, what how to define the technology. So where this word come from? So it is called the technique, the tech. So how does, so what is the purpose of the technology, and why do we call it as a, the word it occupies as a technology, it comes as a first technique. Okay, so where this word come from? That is called technique. And the class word come from the class name you will write in the program, right? So that class is a shortcut for the classification. So it made the word as a class. In our programs we usually write class name. So that is taken the word as a classification. So we have to be like aware of this, like what is the use of a technique. So it what is the technique? So it refers tools and techniques to solve the problems, right? People in, as we can see, there were some peoples they may call the cloud is a technology. So why it, why it come as a technology? So do you agree what is the advantage of the cloud technology? So we can use some resources, right? So you might understand, so what is the cloud technology? And so we are using the some resources by paying some whatever the resources we required. So we have to be pay, and it is called as a pay per use. Okay, we have so many resources, right? Database, connectivity, security, OS. There are so many, more than 200 plus resources available in the cloud. And why do we call it as a technology? The people like few of them might get the confusion. So that's why they call it as a technology or the technique. So what it is generally, so it is pay as per use, whatever the resources you require. Okay, for example, like earlier companies used to store the data like on premises. What is the on premises? Like within the company or within the organization. A large the data centers means the large computer, which is large computer is nothing but the um, it is not computer is not like our normal laptop or computer. So in every organization that there is a huge server or the uh, okay. So what it will do, it will be there in every organization. They have to be maintained in such a way like larger supply of the to maintain the data centers or the computers or the servers. They might require the large supply of AC, power backup, network security, all these things. But it is a very costly. It might be in the crores. This data center means multiple racks, right? So the setup and all too costly to decrease the maintenance. So Amazon started the AWS, then later on the Microsoft, IBM, and Google. Uh, First one, like racist is Amazon started the cloud technology with the name as AWS. Later on, other companies, right? So why? So this refers the technology. So it comes from the word of the technique. Okay. So you already learn the so this is like you have already learned the core Java, right? Why you learning the advanced Java here? Did you learn any technology in core Java? Like what I say, can you call the multi-threading or the collection is a technology, or inheritance or polymorphism is this or a technology? No, we cannot call it as a technology. Right. For JDBC servlet, we can call it as a technology. So we, as per our requirement, we are differentiate like that. We have differentiated like that. But we cannot call we cannot call the collections, inheritance, polymorphism, or multi-threading is a technology. Right. So my point is, in core Java, you are learning the language to develop the business solution. Where there is a problem, we need to be write the program in another program by using the collections, classes, interface, inheritance, different concepts you have learned in the core Java to implement the business logic. If you have to be solve the problem, then you have to be apply some another business logics to overcome with that. So it may be Spring, Hibernate, or microservices, whatever. So the business logic are in the core Java only in the real time. We use the in real time we use. So it is all these are Hibernate, microservices, whatever. So these are nothing but the business logic in the core Java. In the real time we use the what we have to use: list or set, map, string buffers, arrays to write the code and solving the business logic. And what this technology provides, it provides the tools and techniques. Finally you are writing the core Java application to solve the real time program, to solve the real time problems. Okay. So with only core Java we develop only standalone applications, but we cannot just run it in our local system, calculator or McAfee or Notepad. We cannot solve the real time problems using the core Java. There is required some tools and techniques, okay, to write the business code. Do we have any application using only core Java? Nowadays nobody uses it. Every business company or store having their own websites nowadays, right? So for this purpose, to uh, create the websites or web applications, must and should we require the JDBC technology. For standalone application, core Java techniques might enough, but in normal e-commerce applications or any website web applications, we require distributed applications. We have to be use this type of JDBC technology. So JDBC provides tools and techniques to connect our Java application with the databases. Okay, so that's why we use the JDBC. What it provides the tools and techniques. Once you get the connectivity, you need to use the classes, interfaces, collections, variables before we go to the servlet technology. So we will discuss about the web applications, enterprises and distributed. How can you differentiate? Okay, so we will see that. And advanced Java is mainly focused on developing the web applications mainly web applications. Okay, and standalone applications we might need just the core Java techniques, right? According to the Sun microsystem, we have the editions, we not in core Java. Okay, in advanced Java, like we have the JDBC. It comes under the Java SE, which is nothing but the standard edition or enterprise edition. But Servlet and JDBC comes under the, for JDBC, it is comes under the Java Standard Edition, and for Servlet, JSP comes under the Enterprise Edition, and Microsoft Edition, it is important, like broad understanding, right? So Enterprise Edition, it's like heavyweight, more space, and many features are available. We have already downloaded our Oracle application, right? On the time, I have discussed like standalone, like enterprise edition, and how it consumes the more data, more space, and but it has many features, right? For this SE, which is which is for the standalone. Okay, and for the enterprise edition, which is required for web applications or enterprise, and ME, which is nothing but the micro edition given for the mobile applications. So Sun Microsystem has divided these three editions as per our category according to our users needs. What is the now you have understood? Let's discuss the JDBC technology, right? So what, so JDBC technology, it what one does, it refers to tools and techniques to solve the problem. It refers, I guess I already wrote this one. Okay, it refers tools and techniques to solve problems. And what is the API? Okay, before going to the JDBC technology, we have to be like aware of like what is the API, and what we have to be do with this, where we have to be used. If I want to write the program, okay, using any language, I need a support of some pre-existing programs. So APIs is nothing but the application programming interface, but it consists of some pre-existing programs. So can you write the Java program without writing the string programs, which is nothing public static void main strings args, right? What is string? What is string? It's a class. Okay, so it's a class. What is the file name? String.java, so it given as a java.lang package. By default it is imported, and it's a package which is a pre-existing program. We do have the java.util, so all these comes under the pre-existing. So pre-existing, okay, which is nothing but the API. We have the another word, so we can call it as a library. Suppose my faculty given a task to complete, I need to, they have given any task, okay, any assignment. So what I have to do, I have to be complete, because my faculty, my lecturers said me to do this task. So I need to go to the library, and I have collected 4 to 5 books and reading whatever the information I got, preparing the project or assignment. So here the library there are many books which is nothing but the pre-existing books. With the support of those I'm preparing one project. Okay, I'm preparing one project or theoretical project submitting. I have to be submit to lecturer. Okay, so that is the work they have given me to complete my project. So in Java library also it contains the pre-existing programs. Library as a pre-existing programs, and what as a user what we are doing, we are just using them. Who given this Sun microsystem? Okay, to write our own application. So these type of pre-existing who has given some microsystem is given to write our own application. There are the Java system programs. When we are writing by using them, that is nothing but the user defined programs. As per our requirement, we are writing the programs, right? So it is called as a user defined programs. Then the collection of the system programs given by the Java language we are calling the API. So which is nothing but the Java API. API is nothing but it's like package or the pre-existing programs which is given by the Sun microsystem. Okay, we have the JDBC API, and why it is there to write our own programs to interact with the database. It contains the pre-existing programs. API. Okay, so what is the API? Java library. It is a Java library or the Java API. Java library or Java API. Both are same. Okay, pre-existing. So Java API, let me write this. So what Java it refers the collection of predefined or pre-existing. Predefined or pre-existing program given by the programming language. Every programming language has its own predefined or the pre-existing programs. We are just using them as per our need. So which is nothing but we are using this pre-existing programming means programming language to develop the user-defined applications. Okay, so to develop the user-defined applications. Okay, so as per our needs, we are using, that's why to develop the user defined application by using this programming language. So the collection of programs are divided into two categories. It's called the packages, which is not, we have the IO package, which is nothing but input or output. It is divided into two categories. When you go to the shopping mall, like it has a many categories, right? So you have the groceries category, and the fashions related, and the electronics category, footwear, laundry related, appliance category, and many more. So in Java also they divided into the different categories and named it as a package. uh, and API is nothing but the collection of the system programs given by the programming language. Okay, so those will help us to uh, write the user defined programs. So, what are the three core components of the JDBC technology? First one is the JDBC API, JDBC driver manager, and third one is the drivers. So, we have already discussed like the main components. These are the three main components. First one is JDBC API and driver manager, and third one is drivers. In drivers, again, we have three types of four types of categories. So type 1 drivers in the drivers, type 1, type 2, type 3, and the type 4. Okay, so we will discuss all this in the next session, and we have to be understanding. Thank you.